And welcome back to the Canadian Entertainment Podcast, hosted by Ben Stagger. This is I. Thank you for joining us for yet another week in the look behind the curtain of the field of Canadian entertainment, one of the growing industries across the world. Everyone wants a piece of this pie, and I guarantee you, if you listen to this podcast, you are going to see all the good, all the bad, and some. It is so interesting that it is August, most likely the second week. No idea what day it is, but Canadian entertainment does not take any breaks in the summer. In Canada, teachers get the summer off. Canadian entertainers do not, and no one wants to have that conversation, but I'm willing to have it with the right people. But here we are again. Summer is almost over, and there is just so much to cover right now, and we have to talk about this subject. Lots of people have been talking about it, and a lot of people have been saying we want to hear the Canadian entertainment podcast perspective of this, so we're going to lead the show off with this one. So the apparently kid is allegedly around 14 years to 15 years old now. That video came out 10 years ago. Apparently kid, he shocked the world with his use of a word that I guess in the 2010s we weren't using a lot. He was saying apparently, and it a sort of Beatlemania like followed this kid around. He got on Ellen, one of my dreams, which unfortunately might not come true, but I honestly think Ellen, she's been accused of being quite mean, but I think one of the Canadian broadcasters would give you a show if you asked. So let's just think about that. Could Ellen become the next Prime Minister of Canada? Think about this. Well, in Canada, instead of having Democrats and Republicans, we have the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party. But what about the Canadian Ellen Party? There's just such a nice ring to that. Ellen, would you please be the next Prime Minister of Canada? I'm asking with all my heart. Ellen. Or Ellen, I know you want to take a step back out of the limelight. You've had a hard couple of years. Dude, why don't you produce the Canadian Entertainment Podcast? Honestly, it took me about an hour to set this up, and you have years of experience. I could just so see you just working GarageBand and the IKEA light and just picking out my outfits, and The printouts. Oh, buddy. Ellen, if you listen to this, which let's talk. But you're mean, so we got to work on that. Because in Canada, we do not tolerate meanness. No, we do not. No, we do not. But anyways, the Apparently Kid is making waves. He is back with a vengeance. I saw this video on YouTube of the Apparently Kid back at the fair that changed everything when he was asked to hold the mic and he just said the word apparently, and it was beautiful the way he said it. So now he is back and he has long hair. He looks like he could be related to the girl who fell in love with Daniel Radcliffe's character in Harry Potter, Ginny Weasley. He looks like a Weasley, but an American Weasley. And we only see the American side of what happens in the Wizarding universe in the 1800s. And now in 2024, when we see this Apparently Kid back 10 years later, it's almost like we're seeing the Wizarding world in 2024 for the first time because he looks like such a Weasley, but in a great way. So he's back. He's Sade apparently, and if I was wearing a hat, I would say hats off to you, Apparently Kid. Hats off to you. You make the world a beautiful place to live in, and I literally look up to you. Is it weird that I look up to you? And the thing is, again, I bring this up every podcast. Ageism is rampant in the Canadian entertainment industry, so I will never reveal my age. But there's a chance, because I never reveal my age, that I could be younger than the Apparently Kid. There is a chance that I am younger than him. But we'll never know. But there's a law of public records out there, and newspapers, so you can figure it out. But yeah, Apparently Kid is back, and I just, yeah. You know what though? Here's the thing about Apparently Kid, and I'm gonna be the first to say it. So Apparently Kid was made a star after this video came out in 2014 where he was just going off. He was saying apparently. But I almost believe that the origins and the reason that this Apparently Kid popped off so much in 2014 is due, well, it all comes back to Canadian entertainment. Because who is the original Apparently Kid? Well, of course, Daniel Cook. Do we remember Daniel Cook? Well, he was a Canadian sensation. He was on Treat. He was on our. He was essentially. He was a redheaded child, and he went to construction sites and airports, and he was one of our great national broadcasters, Daniel Cook. He was one of our great national broadcasters, Mr. Daniel Cook. And for international audiences, you'll have to look him up. But seriously, I seriously suggest that Apparently Kid would have not been as big if it wasn't for Daniel Cook, who was a few years earlier. He basically had everything that the Apparently Kid had, the orange hair, but he just didn't have a catchphrase like Apparently Kid, and now Apparently Kid is literally reaping all the rewards, and Daniel Cook, well, last I heard, he is, he is So one thing I did want to talk about, because this is actually a national Canadian news story. Do you remember there was a show in the 2000s, maybe 2010s, and it essentially satirized what it was like to work in a corporate office environment in America. It was called The Office US, and it was based on a British show, and we all know British show, British Office, technically Canadian because same person on the back of the coin, it's Canadian, right? So that's a Canadian show, The Office. So it's based on a Canadian show called The Office with a Canadian who made it called Ricky Gervais. He's a famous Canadian actor. Um, and but there was this character on the U.S. Office, and he was. So I kept on thinking when I was watching it, I was like, if this was real life, he honestly, he would have just got his ass rocked, right? By like people, because people in an office environment, I have worked in one before. Sometimes they work out and they don't want to mess around if you're going to be a bully in the office. And I, of course, am talking about this character named Jim. And his last name was Halpert. And well, it already starts off, this character, he was such a little creep. He started really heavily flirting with a lady at the office who was engaged. She was front desk and already a massive no in my book to be doing that. So he starts really doing some he's tried to get with this lady who's engaged, legit has a ring on her finger, like our buddy, right? The little you know who I'm talking about. He's a famous character named My Precious. My precious ring. My precious ring that I put on she's finger. He worked in the loading docks, that little bastard Smeagol. So sometimes I was just wondering, who's the bigger bastard? Is it Smeagol or is it Jim Halpert? Well, the thing is I think it may, and I'm not trying to, it may just be, no, I don't know. I've tried to separate the character from who he was. But so Jim Halpert was actually portrayed by this actor named John Krasinski. And do you remember that South Park episode where all these people come from the future and all these guys start saying they took our jobs? Well, John Krasinski essentially did that to the Canadian entertainment industry when he was in a commercial for one of the major cell phone companies. Yeah. So that's a big Canadian entertainment news story. No, but honestly, I am a member of, I am an apprentice in the union job. Yeah. Oh, great. So now I ruined another relationship with a famous Hollywood actor, John Krasinski, just because I said something. But hey, man, he pissed off a lot of my buddies. But John, it's, maybe you didn't know. Maybe you didn't know. And honestly, so there's some articles about the situation. I'm not good at totally explain it, but honestly, I think all would be well if you if you came to Canada and you let 100 Canadian actors spank you. No, honestly, buddy. Honestly. John. But yeah, so hey, all podcasts talk about a little drama here and there. John. I shook my. But again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just reporting on a Canadian entertainment story, and it was in the Canadian entertainment news, so I knew I had to cover it because CBC covered it, and I haven't seen eTalk cover it yet, and they're my competition, so I literally had to get it before them because that's just simply how this business works. But John Krasinski, you have so much to learn, buddy. You have so much to learn. And personally, I am in this, I am an apprentice in this thing that John Krasinski he got the commercial for. I'm an apprentice in the acting thing because, yes, Canadian entertainer, yes, you have to apprentice to become an actor. Okay. But you know what I was thinking? Dude, I want to be in that Rogers commercial. So first he takes the role of Jack Reacher away from me, which I wanted to be in with all my heart. And then he takes this freaking Rogers commercial away from me. John Krasinski. And you know what? Now, when we look back at The Office, like 10 years later, it's like, no, Dwight was the good guy because Dwight never did a Rogers commercial. So that's so interesting how that just happened. But honestly, John Krasinski, still work with me in a couple years when but honestly, what did you do? You're really confusing me. You're really confusing me, and you have been doing this since the 2000s when I watched your show. But again, why are you manipulating me? You're in my head every day, and John. But again, you are so cool. I want to get a haircut like you. When you used to have your hair defined a lot of things for me. You just make me so curious. Oh, man. So, yeah, so there is a lot going on. At the end of the summer in Canada is the time where the Rib Fests come out, the Busker Festivals really come out, and it's Canadian entertainment is just at one of the highest points in the year. It's massive. And I do consider rib festivals are a part of under the Canadian entertainment umbrella. Know what I just thought of though? And this is probably no. Well, all I thought of was no, it would just literally be such a tweet. No. Just something about there was always this, I was just thinking about remember that goth who's he's not good, but Marilyn Manson, and there's the rumor about him like he would rib yeah. Yep, it's no. 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 Well, no, I was just saying Marilyn Manson would hate. Remember there's a rumor about him and his ribs. there's a rumor about Marilyn and his ribs. And I was like, are we talking these ribs or the ribs at the Canadian at the Canadian Rib Festivals in August? That's what I was wondering all my whole childhood. I was wondering that. And why am I picturing Marilyn Manson in a Don Cherry suit right now? Why am I picturing Marilyn Manson in a Don Cherry suit? You gotta ask yourself that. Wonder what that guy's up to these days. His flowery suits, I was literally just thinking how I was literally thinking about, because one of my great loves right now, I was literally thinking about how there are so many original members of the Beach Boys dead right now, but Don Cherry has a very similar style to the Beach Boys with his flowery suits. We know he doesn't host Coach's Corner anymore, and there's only around one original member of the Beach Boys touring right now, but one that's been, there's Mike Love and there's Bruce, who came in during Pet Sounds, so a bit of the way through the 60s. But Don Cherry already has the look going on. Maybe Don Cherry could be a new touring member of the Beach Boys. Yeah, so the last podcast we did here, we established that I can do the Wicked Witch of the West voice. We established that I can do Smeagol, or it's something that I've been trying. I really had to get out of my comfort zone, and we have established that I can do Arnold Schwarzenegger. And in those three people that I can do and I'm allowed to do, it almost seems like Don Cherry would be in my range. So I would love to just do, without even practicing, just straight off the dome, because it would get a good idea just for the people listening. What might it sound like if Don Cherry was in the Beach Boys? I think it might sound a little like this. Hey. Okay. That's just where we have to start off. That's where we just have to start off here. That's where we just have to start off. No. Okay. Hey. That's where we have to start. That's where we have to start, right? So we just have to pick the perfect song for Dawn, right? We have to. What would his song? I don't think it'd be Wouldn't It Be Nice, but also in my range. And I know I talked about this last time, that sometimes there's certain words, like, this is the weird thing about impressions. Like, I could feel like I could do the one word I just said, which is hey, but what other word? But so I don't think it'd be Wouldn't It Be Nice that he would sing on. I don't think it would be Lil Deuce Coupe, but I think it might be this one. Okay, so Don Cherry. Hey, so yeah, okay, so that's kind of like where he starts off with the voice, and I'm training to diversify my impressions so I could potentially become a voice actor in Canada. So this is good for me to be able to do this. Okay, so it wouldn't be Lil Deuce Coupe, wouldn't be Kokomo that he would sing lead on. But, you know, two of the members who sang lead on this song, I don't even know who sings lead on this song now with their new touring group. So I think it might sound like this. Okay. So, hey. And that's another risk, being able to sing while doing it. Okay. So, I may not always love you as long as there are stars above you. Oh. It's difficult. It is. Oh. It is hard. You can see it though, right? You can see Don Cherry with his suit beating the Beach Boys, and they say, "Take it away, Don," and he does God Only Knows. But okay, so there was so Brian Wilson, he left the Beach Boys for a bit. He didn't tour with them. But it was a big deal when he came back, I believe in the 70s and 80s, to tour with them. And his brothers were so happy that he was back. And they were really proud of their brother because he sang. He wrote a lot of their songs. So almost at every concert, when they do the song Surfer Girl, and there's a vocal solo that's done by Brian Wilson, Dennis Wilson live in the 70s and 80s, because Brian was back. During the vocal solo, he would go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Wilson." So I think I could see that happening with the coach himself. You can picture it. Little surfer, little girl. And then it gets to the part, and Mike Love is like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Don Cherry, we could ride the surf to..." Oh, yeah. You see, I really need to work on this voice. So that's where it comes from, but to sing with it is very... So, we could ride the surf together. Oh, frick. Yeah. But we would have to see if perhaps... maybe Don Cherry... I'd love to hear Don Cherry's falsetto. I would love to hear that. But... I don't know. But he has the look, and he's literally... All Don Cherry is doing right now is hosting. He literally he has a podcast for the past 6 years. He's literally doing what I'm doing. And I honestly think that the Beach Boys, they don't have any Wilsons. They just have Mike Love. And Mike Love, Don Cherry, those two last names... I could see that, the Cherry and Love tour, Cherry Love. There's something, yeah. Maybe Don Cherry. Don Cherry has some original songs he brings to the table. Gets really into production. Hockey girl. Hockey girl. Hockey girl. My little hockey girl. I love my little hockey girl. My little hockey girl and her little hockey squirrel. The little hockey girl and the little hockey squirrel. It's a little hockey world. And Brian Wilson is still alive, so perhaps he gets back in the studio. Don Cherry's there. Mike Love. Bruce is there. The Beach Boys are back with a little new life with Don Cherry. Yeah, Hockey Girl. Hockey Girl. It's the new Beach Boys song. There's something there. I know, obviously, Don Cherry, he's a very troubled man, but so is Dennis, right? So you have to think about that. you have to think about there's they need a Canadian. They need a Canadian. They need a Canadian. I'm thinking either Don Cherry. The Beach Boys either need Don Cherry or my mind goes either to my mind literally goes the Beach Boys need Don Cherry or there's so many names that are popping in my head that are making me laugh. But Martin Short comes to mind. Martin Short definitely comes to mind. There's a lot of Wilsons to fill though, right? Dennis Wilson's not there. Brian Wilson's not there. Carl Wilson's not there. So could you imagine the Beach Boys on tour? Maybe they just do this in Canada. We got Mike Love. We got Bruce. We have Don Cherry. Martin Short. and Peter Mansbridge. It's either there's something in that lineup. Peter Mansbridge, I was thinking Lloyd Robertson. I was also thinking George Stroumboulopoulos, but some of these are just so you see it a mile away. You see George Stroumboulopoulos, you see Peter Mansbridge, you see Lloyd Robertson a mile away. You don't see Martin Short. Martin Short, Don Cherry would be a big surprise. And maybe just some names pop in my head that I think just would make a name popped in my head that I think would make my one of my brothers chuckle. But could you imagine the Beach Boys? It's Mike Love, it's Bruce, it's Don Cherry, it's Martin Short, and from the 2002 Sydney Olympics, it's Simon Whitfield who won the triathlon for Canada, brought it home. Are those not the three that could replace the Wilson brothers? Yeah. Yeah. There's a triathlete girl song in there. Martin Short, he'd have his tune. Martin Short song. What would Martin Short's song be? I know him. My mind just goes so Martin, what did you do? What have you done? Help Me Rhonda? Well, Martin Short, Help Me Rhonda, but I'm thinking if Martin Short wrote an original song, what would it be? But my mind just instantly goes, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So Don Cherry has Little Hockey Girl. Simon Whitfield has Triathlon Girl, and then Martin Short has Second City Girl. So that's the new Beach Boys, the Canadian Beach Boys. Mike Love and Don Cherry legit look so similar to each other if you really think about it. I think that would just be the whole world would fall in love with that. And yeah. I am literally now just picturing once Simon Whitfield joins the Beach Boys next Summer Olympics 2028, hot off the Beach Boys tour. Simon Whitfield, he gets back into triathlon. We've never seen anything like it. He's come back. Okay, so maybe it's 2004. He's come back. It's been 24 years. Simon's back. It's just like when Brian came back to the Beach Boys. He's back in the triathlon, and I could just so hear the announcers after his run with the Beach Boys. They're starting the triathlon, and and they're like, "What? Simon, no! Simon, no! Well, there's no rules that says he can't. Simon, the genius, he's doing the swim with the surfboard! Simon Whitfield with the surfboard!" Yeah. Oh, I could see that. And I could maybe they do it maybe they do it like I could see yeah. I'm also just for some reason my mind is just picturing Don Cher, like maybe they do it like maybe they just kind of do like a tag team sort of thing. So Simon Whitfield, he surfs the triathlon. Then I could so picture Don Cherry. He does. So it's swim, bike, run. I could so picture Don Cherry just riding a Zamboni. That'd be cool. But at the same time, I also could picture him with roller skates and a hockey stick. And then what would Martin Short do? So it's swim, bike, run. And so Simon Whitfield, he has the surfboard at the beginning. Don Cherry, of course, he's got the roller skates. He's got the puck. He's got the hockey stick for the bike. And then the run, which would be Martin Short. And Martin Short, for the run, he, of course, we all know Martin Short as a Canadian who started his career in Godspell. So perhaps Martin Short, Martin, what do you do? Oh, I'm so confused. Okay. What if... Oh my god. Know what I could see Martin Short doing? Martin Short is so kind. He really does give back to Canada, and he would never do us dirty like our... Sorry. He who must not be named. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The guy who does exactly what I'm doing. He's just a little brat in the office. Oh, but brat's a good word now. Yeah, so he's thriving. He's absolutely thriving right now. But know what I think? So we have, again, let's review. I know this sometimes it's just tooth and nail with me, but Simon Whitfield, surfing, Don Cherry, roller skates, hockey stick. And you know what Martin Short's doing? Martin Short, he says, "No, I will not be like John Krasinski. he does the run, but he says, I will not do what John Krasinski does. So who does he assist him on the run? He says, we're doing this for Canada. We're doing this for Canadian entertainment. Canadian triathlon. It's a form of Canadian entertainment. So know who he runs with? 100 members of ACTRA. 100 working actors. He says, no, we're being triathletes today. And that's what Martin Short does. And I'm an apprentice. So, could be in the cards for me, 2028. I love that team. I want to see them. I want to see those three just do that. The Beach Boys need to be a bit more Canadian. We've all been saying that. Yeah, Mountie Girl. That's a song. My little Mountie Girl. I'm so bad at... I need to work on my voices. I want it. So, this is just a general call out because I know a lot of Canadian entertainers listen to this podcast just to see what's going on. So and Canadian entertainers, we come in all sorts of stripes. And I really want to work on my vocal control of my existing impressions. Wicked Witch of the West, Miss Gulch. I will get you pretty in my little dog too. Yeah! Yes! So I do work on vocal control. So if there's any voice actors who could help me, just keep it consistent because the Don Cherry's not working. But the thing is, why I have my 4 impressions. I have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Wicked Witch of the West / Mrs. Gulch. we have Wicked Witch of the West, Smeagol / Gollum, and Don Cherry. We're working on Simon Whitfield. And Martin Short, but Simon Whitfield more important. But you know what? So I love just interacting with all these characters. These are my mains, and I think really Don Cherry is the new one I'm working on. And so these 4 characters are just so in my head right now, and it just made me think. Could you picture? And this would be a good if. I think I brought it up. This might be the deleted podcast I deleted. But could you picture Don Cherry playing the Wicked Witch of the West? Could you picture? Toto! Hey, flying wing monkeys! I could see him doing color commentary on with the flying wing monkey. Ron McClane plays a flying wing monkey. I could see that. I really could see that. Canada, we gotta do a Wizard of Oz Canada. I've said it. I I think I might have said it last podcast, but we gotta just, I don't know what we gotta do to get the money, but I think that would be such a good... get Canadian entertainment on the map. We got everyone on deck. We got Don Cherry playing the Wicked Witch of the West. Ron McClane playing one of the Flying Wing Monkeys. I think we talked about some of the casting choices in our episode or deleted episode, but that would be good. So there's just something about Don Cherry in a witch's hat. I just really want to see before I pass on to just really want to see that. Don Cherry. No, I could also see. I mean, so full disclosure, I used to work construction. I tried to become a plumber in Kitchener-Waterloo for a couple of years. I took a break off entertainment, and is plumbing a form of Canadian entertainment? That's a whole nother episode. It's a whole nother episode. So we can't discuss that right now because we're almost done here. But I remember on the construction site sometimes, and these exist, you'd see a guy with a cowboy hat that was construction hat material. And I would love to just roll up to my old job, Tiger Plumbing, Waterloo. Ben is back. We wear the construction hat, but they have to make this. I want it totally certified. A witch's hat. That's a construction hat. Yeah. A witch's construction hat. But I could also picture Don Cherry. Well, yeah. Okay, maybe it's a plastic safety certified witch's construction hat would be good. There's just something about Don Cherry in a witch's hat that just I cannot get this image out of my head of him just wearing a witch's hat. It's just it just works for some reason. It really it really works. Yeah. So we're about to wrap up here, but who knows what this mic picks up, but we kind of had a lot of times we talked about an off-air producer, and sometimes it's me doing the job, but we hired this off-air producer. He's friend of mine. You've heard him all, and this is a little visual treat. Maybe he's down. This is just totally off the cuff. Off-air producer Joel, would you like to come onto the Canadian entertainment couch? Famous couch.
Hello, Canadian airwaves.
Joel, get in here.
Or you want me to?
Yeah, get in here. Get on the. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Headphones.
Headphones are out. Okay. Oh yeah, we don't need the headphones.
No, I'll put them back on.
No, it's okay. So Joel, we have about just a few minutes left here on the Canadian Entertainment Podcast. Have to ask you,
Yes.
what do you think? What could you picture Don Cherry doing more, Witch's Hat or Beach Boys?
I say why not both? You know, Halloween show at the Beach Boys. You know, you go to the Rose Bowl on Halloween to see the Beach Boys, or Sobeys Stadium, or that new one at York University on Halloween night. Don Cherry's wearing a witch's hat, singing Hockey Girl.
Yes. The Canadian Beach Boys at OLG stage, featuring Don Cherry in a witch's hat.
He sings Oz Girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally picture that. I just picture him. And welcome the Beach Boys. And it's just, the lights go up. It's just a spotlight. And it's just Don Cherry in a witch's hat.
Painted green. His face is painted green. Got a fake nose on.
They have all these fans. They start the show off with Hockey Girl or Don Cherry sings Second City Girl. Yeah. Oh, any other Canadians you think could be in the Canadian Beach Boys?
Oh, well, Jay Baruchel, Allison Pill, Yeah, those two would be good. They could get back together. They famously dated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they dated for a while. They could get back together. Maybe Jay Baruchel joins the Beach Boys, sings "Pill Girl," and it's a song about trying to get her back, and she hears it and comes back. Something like that. Or we get like the cast of Degrassi.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarah Pauly.
Sarah Pauly would be a great Beach Boy.
Brandon Cronenberg.
Brandon Cronenberg, he brings some body horror to the Beach Boys, yeah. Body horror girl.
Now, why am I picturing Don Cherry, the lead in a Brandon Cronenberg movie?
Yeah, so now announced Brandon Cronenberg's new film starring Mia Goth. Yeah. And Don Cherry.
He's the love interest. Yeah. I could picture Mike Love. Yeah. I was gonna say I could picture him getting adopted by the Cronenberg.
He's a new film by another Cronenberg family member, Mike Love.
Yeah, he doesn't change it to Cronenberg, but it's just like they constantly bill it as Cronenberg died as
the offspring of another Cronenberg offspring, the mind of another Cronenberg offspring. It's Mike Love.
This needs to happen. Canada, so please, this is a call out. Cronenbergs, we know you watch this. You gotta get Mike Love in Canadian film and TV. Mike Love literally doesn't even need to tour with the Beach Boys now that Martin Short, Simon Whitfield, Jay Baruchel, Peter Mansbridge, Don Cherry, Allison Pill, they got it covered. And that's so cool. Allison Pill, she's literally the first girl ever in the Beach Boys, and she's Canadian.
Was she the first Canadian in Star Trek? Because she was famously in Picard.
I still haven't watched that yet, but I gotta watch that as a Bruins Trekkie. This is gonna happen. I just think Alicia Cuthbert. Alicia Cuthbert's in it. Who else could be? There's a lot of Canadians I could see in the Beach Boys. Canadian Beach Boys.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking maybe, some of the Paw Patrol voice actors, maybe. Or maybe just a Paw Patrol character. They are famously the most successful Canadian movie of all time is the Paw Patrol movie that came out last year. Have you talked about Paw Patrol on the podcast?
I think I might have once brought up that there's a lot of animation in Canada, so I don't think I ever dropped it by name, so thank you for bringing that up.
I think
it's now in the show notes.
Yeah, I just think that it would be good not just for Canadian representation, but for bringing in a new generation to the Beach Boys if you got like the main character of Paw Patrol to be, to replace Stamos.
Yeah, that's so true. Doing a drum solo, that is almost too perfect. Paw Patrol Animation Studios, you know what to do. We gotta get one of these dogs in the Canadian Beach Boys to do something. Oh yeah, CGI or costume, it doesn't matter. We'll take either or. But
there's AI now. You can do anything with AI. Like we do, or we get Cronenberg to make like an actual living, breathing Paw Patrol like dog cop to be a drummer. Something like that. It's not a puppet or anything. It's real.
Yeah, he legit has that power. We saw what he did in The Fly. Oh my gosh, no, I was just thinking of Well, I like David Cronenberg. He does like all the like prosthetics for all the Canadian Beach Boys and just makes them all look disgusting, like like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Well, at least at the very least on the Halloween show at Budweiser stage or wherever they're doing it, they have to make Mike Love's hands look all fucked up. Long fingers, no fingernails, just like pointed at the end.
I would love the like one of the like classic radio stations advertising this show. The Beach Boys live at Budweiser stage with Don Cherry, Simon Whitfield, Jay Baruchel, Martin Short,
One of the dogs from Paw Patrol.
with makeup by David Cronenberg. That'd be I could see it. Oh, they'd really have to make a part 2 of the Disney documentary about the Beach Boys. This is just like their second like big rise. I could see it like they release something just as big as Pet Sounds. Hockey girl.
Hey, how about this for Halloween? Pet Cemetery Sounds.
That is the exact sort of input we need to give the Canadian Beach Boys. Listeners, if you have any more songs you think the Canadian Beach Boys could play or any members you think could play, let us know. This is a huge idea along with Canadian Wizard of Oz. We want you to start. We got to start making a ruckus in Canada and get these two things to happen. So, guys, I want to thank you. Yeah, Canadian Wizard of Oz, Canadian Beach Boys. This needs to happen. Guys, I want to thank you so much for another episode of the Canadian Entertainment Podcast. I would love to thank the off-air producer, Joel Edmiston, for coming onto the Canadian Entertainment Podcast couch and giving his take on the Canadian Beach Boys and Canadian Wizard of Oz. Thank you very much. Any last words, Joel Edmiston?
Thanks for coming. My last name's actually Edmiston. I've known Ben for almost 10 years now. Longer than that, actually. But it's okay. And maybe one day we'll be on the Canadian Beach Boys.
We could only hope. And sometimes there's something about S's and T's together in the Kitchener-Waterloo accent, right? And celiac disease. So sometimes
I'm not calling you out. I know.
I know.
Because of your disease.
Yeah.
It's all good. I'm just saying.
Sometimes I say Ben Sager. I can't do the S's and the T's. But thank you. You're the reason we do this. Thank you very much. Goodbye.